Hello, I'm Mark John Sternal, and you're watching Bass Guitar DVD number 1, Beginner Basics and Beyond. This is a bass guitar. By the most simplified definition, a bass guitar is made of 4 strings and several frets. The strings are numbered 1 through 4, starting with the thinnest string being number 1, through the thickest string being number 4. There is also a nut. The nut is sometimes referred to as the 0 fret or open. Frets are the bars that run across the fretboard horizontal to the strings. The frets are also numbered, starting with the nut being 0 or open. Most basses have more than 20 frets. Bass guitars have bodies. They also have necks. Bass guitars require an amplifier to be properly heard. When a bass guitar is plugged into an amplifier, the volume and tone knobs help shape the sound of the instrument. There are also acoustic bass guitars. Acoustic bass guitars have sound holes which produce pitch when the strings are played. When properly tuned, notes on both acoustic bass guitars and electric bass guitars are played the same way. You'll also find bass guitars with more than 4 strings. The most popular of these is the 5-string bass. When sitting, you can rest your bass guitar on your lap. If you put your bass guitar on your leg of the same side as your picking hand, you'll be able to reach the open position easier. If you move it to the leg on the same side as your playing hand, playing the open position becomes more of a stretch. You might find picking becomes easier in this position and playing higher notes on the neck is easier. You can also learn to play standing up by using a bass guitar strap to hold your bass guitar at your desired length. If you were just starting out, I recommend that you adjust the strap so the bass guitar is near the same position sitting or standing. You may find that picking becomes difficult if your strap is too long or too short. To correct this, adjust the length of the strap to your liking. Music is made on the bass by simply picking a string. You can pick a string open without touching any frets or strings, or you can place one of your fingers directly behind a fret and pick that string. If the fretted note is dull or muted, check for these problems. 1. Is your finger directly above the fret wire? If so, move it back directly behind the fret, apply pressure, and pick the string. 2. Is your finger too far back, away from the fret wire? This requires a lot of unnecessary pressure. To correct this, slide your finger close to the fret so it is directly behind it, apply pressure, and pick the string. That's all there is to it. If you can play this note, consider yourself a brand new bass guitarist. Here is your first finger placement exercise. On the first string, place your first or index finger directly behind the first fret and then pick that string. You can use a guitar pick or one of your fingers to pick the note. Next, take your second or middle finger and place it directly behind the second fret on the first string. Now take your third or ring finger and place it directly behind the third fret on the first string. Finally, take your fourth or pinky finger and place it directly behind the fourth fret on the first string. So altogether, you have the first fret, first finger, second fret, second finger, third fret, third finger, and fourth fret, fourth finger. And that's the 4-finger exercise. I'm going to show you where my thumb is as well. I keep it pretty much directly behind my middle finger, but in the middle of the neck. If you have smaller hands, you can move up the fingerboard where the frets are closer together. On the first string, move your index finger up to the 9th fret, then play the same finger placement exercise. Forward. You can also play it in reverse, and even on different strings. The idea is to get used to playing notes on the fretboard. This video uses chord charts, traditional music notation, and tablature, also known as tab. This is a note chart. Each vertical line, up and down line, represents a string. From left to right, the vertical lines represent the 4th or thickest string, then the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. Each horizontal line represents a fret. Dots are placed on the note chart to show you which strings and frets to hold in order to play scales or chords. In some cases, like this example, hollow dots represent an open string. This note chart shows 3 dots on the first string. The dots represent the notes to play on the fretboard. To play the notes below, simply pick the first string open, then the 1st fret, then the 3rd fret. You can also play it descending by picking the 1st string 3rd fret, then 1st fret, then open. Here we are using more than one string. To play the notes on this chart, pick the 2nd string open, 1st fret, 3rd fret, then play the 1st string open, then the 1st fret, then the 3rd fret. You can also play this descending by starting with the 1st string 3rd fret, then 1st fret and open, then play the 2nd string 3rd fret, 1st fret, then open. When notes are intended to be played on higher frets, the fret number is listed to the left or right of the chart. The previous exercise didn't use fret numbers because the notes were near the open position or within range of the nut. In this exercise, the number 7 tells us that the lowest fret we use is the 7th fret. To play this section, start with the 1st string 7th fret, followed by the 8th fret, then 10th fret. Or, to play it descending, start with the 1st string 10th fret, then 8th fret, then the 7th fret. Bass tablature, or tab, uses 4 lines. Each line represents a string. The bottom line being the 4th and lowest pitch string, the thickest string, and the top line representing the 1st or highest pitch string, the thinnest string. Instead of using musical notes for each line, numbers are used to represent the fret that is to be played. For example, if a 3 is written on the 3rd line, you would play the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. If a 4 is written on the 3rd line, followed by a 5, you would play the 4th fret on the 3rd string, followed by the 5th fret on the 3rd string. If you were to play more than one note at a time, the notes would be written one on top of the other. If a 4 is written on the 3rd line, and directly below it a 5 is written on the 4th line, you would play the 4th fret on the 3rd string along with the 5th fret on the 4th string at the same time. There is also tablature for 5 and 6 string basses. You'll be able to use this video even if you do not learn to read traditional notation. However, we have included an introduction in this section. Music is traditionally written on a staff. A staff consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces, which represent the different notes of the musical alphabet. The notes represented on the staff come from our musical alphabet. They are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. After the G note, the alphabet starts over with A. This also works in reverse if you are playing or writing the notes backwards. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, and so on. Bass music is written on the bass clef. Whenever you see this symbol, the music can be played on a bass guitar. The notes of the bass clef start with G on the very bottom line. The space above G represents an A note. The line above A represents B. The space above B represents C, and so on. Notes can extend above and below the staff by the use of ledger lines. There are also different versions of most notes called accidentals. Accidentals consist of sharps and flats. To make a note sharp is to raise it one fret on the bass. To make a note flat is to lower it one fret on the bass. One way of writing sharps or flats on the staff is to place the symbol before the note you want to change. Another way of writing sharps or flats is to use a key signature. Simply put, a key signature is a group of sharps or flats at the very beginning of a staff line. The sharp or flat note in the key signature indicates that all notes of the same name will be altered throughout the piece of music. For example, if the key signature has a sharp symbol on an F, you are to play F sharp in place of F for the remainder of the piece of music, unless otherwise indicated by another accidental symbol. When a sharp or flat note needs to be changed back to its original non-accidental state, a natural symbol is used. Most bass guitar music uses both tablature and staff notation, which allows you to choose which method of reading you would like to use. Bar lines are the vertical lines that divide tablature and staff music into sections. A measure is the space between bar lines. Each measure uses an equal set of beats. The amount of beats is determined by the time signature. For example, in 4/4 timing, each measure equals 4 beats. In 3/4 timing, each measure will equal 3 beats. In 2/4 timing, each measure will equal 2 beats. The most popular time signature is 4/4 timing. 4/4 timing is also called common time and is sometimes identified with the letter C in the time signature. Another way to identify 4/4 timing or common time is to leave the time signature blank. The tempo of a song determines how fast or how slow each measure is counted. For example, 40 BPM means you would count 40 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 80 BPM means you would count 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 160 BPM means you would count 160 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are many different timing notes. For starters, the whole note equals 4 beats, or one whole measure in 4/4 timing. The half note equals 2 beats. The quarter note equals 1 beat. These notes and timings will be explained more thoroughly as they are used throughout this video. This section includes a comprehensive look at the fundamentals of the bass guitar. I am of strong belief that musicians should know their instrument, and you as a bassist should know your bass. The musical alphabet consists of 12 notes. They are A sharp and B flat, B, C, C sharp and D flat, D, D sharp and E flat, E, F, F sharp and G flat, G, G sharp and A flat, and A. Notice that the 2nd, 5th, 7th, 10th, and 12th notes have 2 different names. For example, the second note can be A sharp or B flat. It is the same note, but it has two different names. The notes A, B, C, D, E, F, and G are called basic or natural notes. All of the sharp and flat notes are called accidentals. Each of the 4 strings on the bass guitar have been assigned a specific note. The 4th string, which is the top and heaviest string, is the E string. When this string is played open, with no frets, it will produce an E pitch. Each fret after that will bring you to the next note in the musical alphabet. So if you play the first fret, it will produce an F note. The second fret will produce an F sharp or G flat note. The third fret will produce a G note. Next is G sharp, A flat, then A. The 6th fret will be an A sharp or B flat. The 7th fret is B, 8th fret is C, and so on. Once you reach the 12th fret, the musical alphabet will repeat itself, starting with the E note. The 3rd string open is an A note. The 2nd string is a D note, and the 1st string is a G note. Altogether, starting with the 4th string, the notes are E, A, D, and G. On a 5-string bass, strings 1 through 4 are the same, and the 5th string is a B note. On the screen is a note chart provided for your reference. Some of the notes have been highlighted and are connected by a line. The notes that share the same color highlight are the same pitch and will aid you in tuning your bass. For example, if your low E string is already in tune, you can use the A note on the 4th string, 5th fret to tune the A note on the 3rd string open. Play the 5th fret of the E string, then play the open A string. Compare the 2 notes and adjust the pitch of the 3rd string to match that of the 4th string, 5th fret by tightening or loosening the tuning peg. You can apply this to the 5th fret of the 3rd string to tune the 2nd string open to a D note. Then, the 5th fret of the 2nd string to tune the 1st string to an open G note. If you're having a hard time tuning your bass guitar by ear, I recommend an electric tuner. Electric tuners are inexpensive and will save you from the frustration that comes with playing a bass that is out of tune. The tuner that I am using for this video is a Boss TU-80. To tune your instrument, pick an open string. If the display lights up to the left of center, that means your string is too loose and you need to tighten the tuning peg. If the display lights up to the right, it means your string is too tight and you need to loosen it until the meter lines up in the center. Then you're in tune. There is also a virtual tuner included in the bonus section of this video, which will allow you to match the pitch of your bass to standard pitch for each string. Playing in tune is very important for beginner bassists. You want to develop a sense of pitch as soon as possible, so if you don't already have an electric tuner, I highly recommend that you get one. Also, if your bass goes out of tune easily, or if it sounds out of tune when you play the higher numbered frets, take it to your local music store and have a guitar technician take a look at it. Chances are it may only need a few minor adjustments. Positioning of your hands is very important when playing the bass. Pay close attention to this section and get in the habit of keeping your fingers and hands in the proper positions at all times. If you're using your fingers to pick with your middle and index fingers. Always alternate fingers, beginning with your middle, then index. If you are using a pick, hold it between your thumb and index finger. The tip of the pick should be pointing in the direction of your index finger. When using a pick, always alternate your picking strokes, down, up, down, up. Bend your wrist or your elbow when picking. Avoid any movement of your thumb or index finger. Your other 3 fingers should be rolled into your palm or stretched out and braced against the body of your bass guitar below the first string. Slapping is another common approach for playing the bass. Instead of using a pick or fingers, your thumb is used to produce a heavier sound. To slap, start with your thumb away from the desired string. Rotate your wrist or elbow to slap the desired string with the edge or knuckle of your thumb, then pull your thumb away. The slapping symbol is usually a T. Some transcriptions will have text telling you to slap the notes. Popping will give you a bright or punchier tone. To pop a note, curl your picking finger under the string so your nail is facing the body of your bass. Then pull your finger away from the bass, releasing the string. If you are a beginner bassist, or if these are new techniques for you, take some time to practice them. I recommend that you practice every lesson on this video using all 4 picking techniques. This will give you a wide variety of sounds for everything you learn. The following exercises will help you develop these techniques. To help us keep steady time, we are going to be using a metronome set at a very slow 40 beats per minute. There are 4 beats per measure. A quarter note receives 1 beat. The count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first time through, we'll play this by picking with our fingers. If that was too slow for you, you can always speed up the tempo. For example, here is the same exercise 3 times faster at 120 beats per minute. Here's the same exercise played with a pick. Now we'll use the slap technique. And once with the popping technique. Get in the habit of positioning the fingers of your playing hand 1 fret apart each. Press down on the 1st fret with your 1st finger. 2nd fret, 2nd finger. 3rd fret, 3rd finger. And 4th fret, 4th finger. Keep your thumb behind your middle finger in the center of the neck. Many bass players allow their thumb to hang over the top edge of the guitar. There are some techniques that require this positioning, but overall it will slow you down. When you're not playing a note, your fingers should remain in this position 1/2 inch above the string, while your thumb always remains in contact with the neck. This positioning should be used anywhere on the fretboard. So if you move your hand up the neck, your fingers will stay 1 fret apart each. This is the really easy section to help you build up to playing fluently on every string. Each lesson is played slow, then fast, with each new section increasing speed. If you decide to skip ahead and later find that you are having difficulty playing something, then you might want to come back to this section to get your fingers in shape. If you are just starting out, I recommend that you play through this section at least once, no matter how easy you find the first few lessons. For this exercise, we are going to play notes on the 1st string only. Here, we are only going to use our 1st and 2nd fingers to play these notes. This is called the half-step song. A half-step is the distance of 1 fret on the bass guitar. So, from the 1st fret to the 2nd fret is a half step. The 5th fret to the 6th fret is a half step. The 12th fret to the 13th fret is a half step. Even if you change strings, a half step is still 1 fret distance. Let's begin with a step-by-step approach to playing our first song. It is very important to use proper picking and finger technique. First, we'll slowly go through the song, making sure to use the correct fingers for each note. Then we'll play it at 2 different speeds. In this exercise, the first note is a G sharp on the 1st fret. In the 2nd measure, we see our 2nd note is an A note played on the 2nd fret using your 2nd finger. In the 3rd measure, we play an A sharp note by moving our 1st finger up the bass guitar neck to the 3rd fret. Measure 4 is a B note played with your 2nd finger on the 4th fret. Then for the ending, we drop to the open G note, no frets, no fingers, followed by the last note. G sharp, 1st finger, 1st fret. For most of this song, your thumb will be behind the 2nd fret on the back of the neck, but when you play the A sharp and B notes and slide your 1st finger up to the 3rd fret, your thumb will follow by sliding as well. Then back to the original position for the ending. Here I'm picking each note using the traditional bass guitar finger picking technique, alternating between my index and middle finger for each note. The whole song builds up with half steps, 1 fret each. Then ends with half steps right where we started off by dropping to the open G, then the G sharp. You can see in the sheet music all of the notes or timing values in this song are whole notes. A whole note is held for 4 beats. Now that we have dissected this position and learned the correct fingering and picking, let's play along with the tempo. First, we'll start out very slow, then we'll speed it up a bit. Here's the half-step song at 40 beats per minute, or 40 BPM. The drum machine will count us in with a 4 count, then we'll start playing together. How did you do? Were you able to let each note ring out for a full 4 count? If not, remember to keep your fretting finger directly behind the fret wire. This requires the least amount of strength to hold a note down. Here's the half-step song played at double the tempo, 80 BPM. If that was too fast for you, don't worry. Keep going through this section. Remember, I'll be playing each song twice, one at a slow speed and one at a fast speed. By the end of this easy playing section, you'll be playing fast enough to repeat these exercises at both slow and fast speeds. Now we're moving on to whole steps. If a half step is 1 fret distance, then you guessed right if you said a whole step equals 2 frets distance. For this song, we are playing on the first string and only using our first and third finger to play notes. The first note is G and is played open, no frets, no fingers. Just pick the string to sound the G note. The second measure is A, played with your first finger on the 2nd fret. The third measure is B, played with your 3rd finger on the 4th fret. Next, we go back to A, played with your first finger on the 2nd fret, down to the open G again, back up to A, first finger, 2nd fret, and end on the open G. For this whole song, your thumb will be between the 2nd and 3rd fret at the back of the neck. When you play this song, the first time you get to the A note, keep your first finger on the 2nd fret for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th measures. This will help you make a smooth transition between notes. So let the A in measure 2 ring out for a full 4 beats. Keep your first finger planted on the A when you play the B with your 3rd finger. Hold it for 4 beats, then lift the 3rd finger. Since your first finger is already in place to play the A note, all you have to do is pick the string. This little trick keeps you a note or two ahead of what you are currently playing and will make your song sound smooth and professional. Okay, let's play our song with a tempo of 50 BPM. Now let's go for double time at 100 BPM. And remember, if the fast version of each song is giving you problems, Don't worry. Keep going on to the next lesson. Here's the same song, but we are going to introduce a new note value. Instead of playing whole notes, which equal 4 beats each, we are going to use half notes, which equal 2 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're going to pick each note twice per measure. The first note of each measure is played on the 1 count, 1, 2, then again on the 3 count, 3, 4. For the ending, the last note is going to be a whole note ringing out for 4 beats. Here it is, first at 50 BPM, then again at 100 beats per minute. This lesson may be too difficult if you are a complete beginner. Try to play it, and if it's too hard for you, keep going through the rest of the lessons. Once you have finished the easy playing section, come back to any bonus lessons you have skipped, and you'll find that you've built up enough skill as a bass player to complete it. This lesson is designed to teach you a few things all at once. First, it is designed to get you to use and strengthen your pinky or fourth finger on your playing hand. The first note is a C note, played on the 5th fret with your pinky. The second measure is a B note, played on the 4th fret with your 3rd or ring finger. Next we play the A note on the 2nd fret with our 1st or index finger. Notice how all the fingers line up 1 fret apart each. Now keep your hand in the same position, but lift your index finger off of the string. This opens up our exercise so we can play the 4th measure, which is an open G note. So far, we have played all whole notes, receiving 4 beats each. Next, we are going to walk back up the neck of the bass guitar, playing half notes, receiving 2 beats each. So, keep your hand in place, and this way you only have to apply pressure to hit the right notes. On the 5th measure, we play the open G note for beats 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then A on the 2nd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are keeping your hand in place, all you have to do is squeeze your first finger down and play the A note on beats 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, play the B by applying your 3rd finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, for the ending, we are back to our C with the pinky played as a whole note on the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put it all together, first at a tempo of 50 BPM, then 100 BPM. The second string introduces the D note in the open position. On the second fret, we have the E note played with our first finger. The third fret is F, played with your second finger. For this song, we're combining whole notes with half notes. Each note is played for 2 measures, starting with the open D played as a whole note held for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next measure, we play the same notes on beats 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measures 3 and 4 use the same rhythm, but we change to the E note on the second fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the F note on the third fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to E for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then end on the open D for a whole note held for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put it all together with a tempo starting at 60 BPM, then again at 120 BPM. For this song, we are playing notes on both strings. Let's learn part 1. Using half notes, we are walking down in pitch, starting with B to A to G on the first string, followed by F, then E on the second string, back to the open G string, and on the E for a whole note. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Part 2 starts using half notes to play B, A, and G, then back up to A, then B, all on the first string. Next, play the open D on the second string, and end on B for a whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's put it all together, starting on part 1, then part 2, back to part 1 again, then part 2 for the ending. Here it is at 60 BPM, then again at 120 BPM. This song introduces the repeat symbol. The double bar line followed by 2 dots signifies the beginning of a repeat section. 2 dots followed by a double bar line signifies the end of the repeat section. Whenever you see a repeat section, play the musical piece twice in a row before moving on to the rest of the written music. If you are to play the piece more than twice, instructions will be given with the sheet music. For this exercise, we are going to play the bass line 4 times. Now let's look at the notes of our song. The whole piece uses half notes, receiving 2 beats each. In the first measure, we start with the open G note on the first string, followed by F on the second string. The second half has us play an E note on the second string, 2nd fret, followed by the open D. The repeat symbol after D tells us to go right back to the beginning of the piece in time with the tempo. Let's play this 4 times at 60 BPM, followed by 120 BPM. Here is the same song played with quarter notes instead of half notes. A quarter note receives 1 beat per note, giving our song a much faster feel. Now we are playing 1 note for every beat of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play it at 60 BPM, then again at double time. For this exercise, position your hand so your fingers are 1 fret apart each. So your index finger should be above the 2nd fret, middle finger above the 3rd, ring above the 4th, and pinky above the 5th fret. Again, to help strengthen the pinky, we are going to start with it on the 5th fret and descend to the other notes. The 5th fret note is another way to play our G from the 1st string open. They are the same pitch and they are written the same way in sheet music, but we now have 2 options for playing them. After the new G half note, which is held for 2 beats, we play F on the 3rd fret, then E on the 2nd fret. F and E are quarter notes held for 1 beat each. So altogether, the first measure of this exercise is G on the 5th fret for counts 1 and 2, F on the 3rd fret for the 3 count, E on the 2nd fret for the 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure 2 starts off with the open D as a half note for counts 1 and 2. Next we ascend to E for the 3 count, followed by F for the 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Measure 3 is identical to 1, playing G, F, E. And measure 4 has us holding the D for a whole note. Then we repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is with the tempo. We're finally to the halfway point and learning notes on the 3rd string. This exercise uses the same frets and fingerings that we used on the 2nd string. The 3rd string open is a new lower A note. This A note is slightly different from the one we learned on the 1st string's 2nd fret. It sounds different and it is written different. These are 2 different A notes 1 octave apart. If you were to measure the frequency of each note, the A note on the 1st string would vibrate exactly twice as fast as the open A note on the 3rd string. Since the A note on the 1st string vibrates faster, it is higher in pitch. Since the A note on the 3rd string vibrates slower, it produces a lower pitch. The 3rd string's 2nd fret is a new lower octave B note. The 3rd fret is a C note. The rhythm for each measure is a half note, quarter note rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. First, we'll loop it at 70 BPM, then double time at 140 BPM. This song uses a common song structure that you might see in a lot of popular music. For example, in the first two measures, you'll notice that we mainly focus on the A note. This is a bass line that you might play over other musicians, maybe a guitarist or a keyboard player playing an A chord. In measure 1, we play the A half notes on counts 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. In measure 2, we play quarter notes for A, then E on the second string, second fret, then back to A on the third string for a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Altogether, the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In measures 3 and 4, we move the whole structure to the D note. So this rhythm would work well over a D chord. The first half is D on counts 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then switch to quarter notes, playing the D, high A on the first string, second fret, then back to D for a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we repeat the whole song. Here it is at 70 BPM, then 140 BPM.